What's up, everybody? Welcome to podcast. Now, I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about what's coming next for Hideo Kojima Productions after Death Stranding, basically. So I want to kind of talk about the future of what I see Hideo doing in terms of basically, more or less, publishing or distributing out his games, the games that he creates, because this is coming, I believe, just a day after we got word that's official, that Death Stranding is officially going to come to PC. And what's a little bit more interesting by it is that it's published by 505. It's not being published by Sony, which is a little bit different, a little bit weird. You normally would expect Sony to take over kind of like the responsibilities of what comes with publishing out your game when it comes to the PC. They don't have to, and obviously they are not, but this got me thinking, and I think this is like the first step, because this was rumored for a very, very long time. For years, actually, it's kind of been a rumor out there that this game was coming to PC. I believe just as early as like September, just a few months ago, we got rumors that at State of Play or around State of Play time, we were going to find out that the game was going to come out to PC a year later. So they were kind of right. We didn't get it at State of Play. We got it like a month after, and it's not a year. It's around 6 months. Now, we don't necessarily know when. They said early summer, so maybe around June. So yeah, around 6 to 8 months. So not necessarily a full year. And, I see a lot of people getting upset about this. I'm not necessarily going to talk about what that means in the moment. I think it's still a definite, it's a big thing for PlayStation. It's a big thing to have it being exclusive. I'm getting it because I really am I think I'm going to love it, just how different the game actually is. And most people, I think, are going to get this game within the first 6 to 8 months. I think, 80 to 90% of the people that are going to buy this game will have gotten it by the time it becomes technically not exclusive. Now, console exclusive, it's still PlayStation, but in terms of exclusivity in general, you can't say it's PlayStation exclusive anymore, I believe, because it comes out PC after. I mean, you can for the first 6 to 8 months, but then when it comes out to PC, it's no longer, in my opinion, a PlayStation exclusive. Just like when Microsoft says that it's an Xbox exclusive, but it also comes out the same day on PC, I never consider those games Xbox exclusives because they're just flat out not. If it's not for one thing, it's not an exclusive. That's just the definition of the word. But it really, more than anything, okay, now that that's out of the way, now that that rant's out of the way, what this got me more thinking about was really the future, okay? Hideo Kojima, he's not super old, but he's getting up there in age. He's in his early 50s at this point, and he's still got many games left. He said he wants to make games until he's gone. He's going to make, that's his entire, kind of reason for being here. I think he's an absolute mastermind. Obviously, he's one of the most influential, but also I think just one of the better storytellers or just minds. Basically, just, his brain is one of the better brains in the gaming industry, just in general. So we're all I think we should all be very thankful that he's still around and that he is around, he's making games, and he's got no plans to slow down or to stop. However, what we do have to look at is where could these games, what's going to start happening with these games. Obviously, he's always had a thing with PlayStation. That's why kind of Death Stranding made a lot of sense, that Sony said, okay, here, we're going to help you out with the studio. You're going to make us a game. It'll be like we're going to pay a lot of money for this stuff, and it's going to be exclusive. And they never purchased Kojima Productions, so Kojima is not theirs to do whatever they want with, I should say. But they did not purchase him. Now, with them purchasing Insomniac, we've heard rumors that, like, who else could they possibly buy? Could they buy Remedy, who is the makers of Alan Wake and Control? Could they buy Housemarque? Could they buy all these different studios? And the rumor has it that Sony is looking to buy more studios to get ready for the PS5. Again, obviously they bought Insomniac, and that is a massive, massive studio. A studio long, long overdue to be bought. I thought Sony should have bought them back with Resistance 3 after the Resistance franchise was finished. They let them go. Obviously, they made Sunset Overdrive and then came back eventually with Spider-Man. But when it comes to Kojima, here's what I think's going on in the background. I think Sony definitely wants Hideo Kojima with them going forward. Now, like, Death Stranding could technically flop. There's been a lot that's been put into this game. There's been a lot of hype, a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement. But at the same time, the game could come out, and if it sells, and we've talked about this, we've made multiple videos talking about it, if it makes 5, 6, 7 million copies sold, How big of a success is that? What's Sony looking to do? Is this a game that Sony's like, all right, 10 to 50, like it needs to sell 12 million copies or more, and we will consider it a success? Do they look at that? Uncharted, The Last of Us, Horizon, Spider-Man, God of War, games, those are the top tier games that Sony has, both kind of in quality and just in terms of how much they put in, and also how much they get out, because those are all games that have sold close to, if not more, than 10 million copies. Games like The Last of Us and Uncharted have sold upwards of 15 to 20 million copies. So what do they expect from Death Stranding? But more than that, I do think they would just like to have Hideo Kojima with them going forward. I think that's a big kind of win for them. I think we're past the point of it being kind of like just a cult thing, like only a small amount of people like Metal Gear or whatever. Metal Gear 5 sold insanely well. Death Stranding, again, continues to have excitement. And even if the game sells 6, 7, 8 million copies, that's a lot of copies. I think if it sells 8 million copies, that'd be, I would consider that phenomenal. I'd say that's a really, really a good game in terms of selling. I mean, it could sell 2 million copies and be the greatest game ever created. That's also very possible. But I think Sony, no matter what, probably is looking to say, okay, we want you. And again, the rumors have it that that is one of the studios that they may be looking at to purchase. Now, from Kojima's end, and it's a lot more, I think, complicated with him, I really don't feel like he wants to get tied down anymore, just in general. With what happened with Konami and then basically right afterwards, it was kind of a surprise. I mean, it was and it wasn't a surprise that a studio or like a company got him after that. Remember, once he left Konami, there were a lot of speculation that basically everyone would bid for him, that EA, Ubisoft, Microsoft, like all of these, everybody, Sony, they would all bid to basically have him as part of them. When Amy Hennig left Naughty Dog, and they were saying like, well, would a company say EA, which EA actually did end up doing this, but what publisher, what major corporation is going to swoop in and say, okay, here's your very large salary, here's an entire studio for you, here's an entire team for you, make us some games now. And EA ended up doing that with Amy Hennig, and there was a lot of talk of who was going to do that with Hideo Kojima, and it turned out to be Sony, which was kind of a surprise. Again, I thought actually Microsoft had a chance there, but I don't know, like the insider talk, maybe they were never even close. But back then, I think it was a huge win for Sony to come out and say like, hey, basically we caught him, like we got him. But still, did they really? I mean, yeah, it's for PlayStation, it's for PC. Microsoft, and that's another thing you have to look at is, what does maybe Hideo himself, what does he think of Microsoft? Does he actually see it as like a platform that's like, all right, it hasn't even reached 50 million copies. It's not even half the amount of copies that PlayStation has. If Death Stranding comes out on PlayStation, it's coming out to the majority of gamers. And then if it comes out to PC, there's a lot more, but I'm getting to that. Comes out on PS4, it comes out to most of the console gamers. And then comes out on PC, and then it comes out for most of the people that have video games. Yeah, you're leaving, okay, let's say 45 million people that have the Xbox One, but how many of those people also have a PC or also have a PlayStation? I'm willing to say maybe half, maybe even more than half. So now you're leaving 20 million people out. Yeah, you're missing Nintendo, but a lot of companies leave Nintendo out. Not rightly. I'm a huge Nintendo Switch fan, but just kind of different. Everything's kind of just different, right? For Nintendo, it's just we love them. They're there. They'll always be there. I hope they're always there. They're absolutely the best, but it's just a little bit different. But for you get my point. Basically, it also and I've never even thought about this. I actually did not think about this angle until I sat down and started talking to you. I think for Hideo Kojima, I'm not going to pretend I know him. I'm not going to pretend like I know his mind. I think Jeff Keighley is maybe the only one who does that. I would think, though, that Hideo's looking at it as he kind of just wants all rights to his own stuff. He's getting up there in age. You can't he's eventually not going to be here anymore. And yeah, I get it. He's only in his early 50s. He's still got multiple years left, but games take a long time. He may only be able to make 4, 5, 6 more games, which that's a lot, but that takes you 20, 30 years, and then he's probably done. So yeah, if you say 5 to 6 games, like that sounds like a lot, and it also doesn't sound like a lot just because of how game development goes. And so if you're thinking about it from him, he's been around such a long time and been through all of these basically every single generation of games, right? He's been around for such a long time. is this to the point that, yeah, he did do this deal with Sony, but Kojima Productions is still his. It's all his. Will he self-publish his own title? Will he go to a publisher that's just going to, like a secondary kind of one, like this 505, who's just publishing it on PC? Could he just go to a random publisher and say, hey, put this game on every platform? I just want it on Microsoft. I want it with Sony. I want it for, Steam and Epic even, or whatever, whatever he ends up doing. Will that be his next move? I think it is. It also depends on if he likes these kind of businessy kind of things. Like if Sony definitely made it a lot easier on him and like literally just made the whole process easy to do. Maybe they did help him out financially. I'm sure they did. Maybe he's like, all right, I want that. I doubt he would switch. I doubt he'd pull like an Insomniac, again, where they did Resistance 3. Those 3 games were phenomenal games, I thought. I think a lot of people thought that, but basically nobody bought them. Sony, I guarantee you, had the chance to buy Insomniac. They didn't, and then Insomniac was like, all right, we're going to make a game for like that people could actually play, that we know could actually sell. Sadly, they did Sunset Overdrive for Xbox, and I don't think that sold all that well. And then they came back for Spider-Man, which obviously I believe is their highest selling game ever. And then Sony buys them very, very smartly. They buy them. So, I don't think he would do that. Basically, I'm saying I don't think Kojima is going to make whatever his next game is and then say, oh, and it's a Xbox Scarlet exclusive. It's like I think he's got a really nice just partnership with Sony. He kind of always has, dating back to the early Metal Gear games. So he's always kind of been on that. And I don't know if that's something with people that work there or maybe because of just their, just being in Japan with them, basically. I don't know the actual reason, but he has always kind of had that partnership with Sony, or that camaraderie, basically. So I don't think he would pull a 180 and say, hey, I'm just going to do it on Microsoft. Also, though, if you ask me right now, I think I would tell you that his next game will just come out on everything. That would be just if you guys force me to answer you right now. I think that could also be very, very wrong. I do think it could be a game that's only, one console or one platform exclusive, whatever his next game is. There's also the question of, like, nobody's played Death Stranding yet, right? Nobody's beaten it. What comes next? Is there a Death Stranding 2? Does he make just a brand new game? Like, is he going to start doing, again, he may only be able to make 5 or 6 more games. Are each of those games just going to be completely different games? I think Death Stranding has a lot of feel of Metal Gear, even though obviously it's completely not. Maybe all the games will feel a little bit like Metal Gear, but they'll obviously all be very, very different. That's another question, and I do want to talk about that. We've held off talking about Death Stranding 2, kind of because I just want the game to come out first, see if it's an open-ended ending, that maybe they would want to continue with a second game. So we will make a video talking about if there'll be a sequel to Death Stranding 2, but I just don't want to do that right now. I think that does have something to do with it, though, because if you make Death Stranding 2, Death Stranding would be owned by Sony. Okay, that IP, that's Sony's now. Kojima made it, but it's Sony's because they own that. So if it's a Death Stranding 2, it's a very easy answer to my question. It would be yes. It would have to be a Sony exclusive game, whether or not they do it the same way they did it now, where it eventually comes to PC. that would be seen, but that would be a very, very easy answer. If it's a completely new game, again, just like Death Stranding was, then it's, it gets more complicated, or at least you can maybe argue different things. But guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What do you think comes next for Kojima? Do you think he stays with Sony? Do you think he goes somewhere else? Do you think there's a Death Stranding 2? Do you think it's a brand new game? I know we're jumping the shark a little bit. The game hasn't even come out, but I thought this would be an interesting thing, talking about a different twist about that PC, it coming out on PC. I know a lot of people are talking about it. I just wanted to make a kind of different take to it. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit that bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. We've been talking about Death Stranding a lot on the channel, and more videos leading to the game coming out. We're going to be doing a giveaway of the game, and then there'll be loads of videos talking about the game once the game is actually released. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope to see you all in the next video.